During a family dinner with my son and his wife, where we finally made peace after years of silence, I received a text message from an unknown number. Get up and go now. Don't say anything to your son. I decided to listen and learned the terrible truth which made my hair stand on end. 30 minutes later, the police were knocking on their door. You won't believe what happened next. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you are listening in the comments. The dish soap bubbles clung to my weathered hands as I scrubbed Margaret's favorite coffee mug for the third time this week. Same routine every evening. Washed the single plate, single fork, single cup that marked another solitary dinner. The kitchen felt cavernous without her humming while she cooked, without her gentle scolding about leaving newspapers scattered across the table. The refrigerator hummed its lonely tune, decorated with faded photos held by mismatched magnets. My eyes found the picture of Rick at his high school graduation, 17 years old, grinning in his cap and gown, Margaret's arm wrapped around his shoulders. Before the arguments, before the money, before the silence. The phone's shrill ring cut through my reverie like a knife. My wet hands fumbled for the dish towel as the phone continued its insistent demand. The wall-mounted receiver felt cold against my palm as I lifted it, squinting at the caller ID through my reading glasses. The number made my breath catch. Rick. For a moment I couldn't move. A year of silence stretched between us like an ocean. The last time we'd spoken, he'd stormed out after I had refused to loan him money for his investment opportunity. Margaret would have handled it better. She always knew the right words. Hello? My voice came out rougher than intended. Dad? Rick's voice carried that same uncertain tone from his childhood when he'd broken something valuable and wasn't sure how much trouble he was in. It's me. I gripped the phone tighter, my heart hammering against my ribs. Rick, I wasn't expecting. I know it's been... He paused and I could hear him breathing. Too long, way too long. I moved slowly to my armchair, the one that Margaret had insisted we buy because it supported my back properly. The leather was worn smooth from years of evening news and Sunday crosswords. How are you, son? I'm good, really good. Emma and we've been talking and we realized how much we miss having you around, how much we miss... Family? The word hung in the air between us. Family. Something we'd once been before pride and money and stubborn silence built walls between us. I miss it too, I admitted, surprised by the honesty in my own voice. Dad, would you consider coming for dinner tonight? Emma's making that pot roast you always loved, and we could talk, really talk, like we used to. I stared at the family photo on my side table. Rick, Emma, Margaret, and me at their wedding 5 years ago, before everything went wrong. Margaret always said, families find their way back to each other, given time. Tonight, my voice betrayed my surprise. I know it's short notice, but Emma's already started cooking, and we don't want to wait anymore. We've wasted enough time. Something in his voice tugged at my heart, a vulnerability I remembered when he was small and afraid of thunderstorms. Maybe Margaret would have been right. Maybe families really could heal. What time? 7:30? I'll text you the address. We moved to Montclair last year. Montclair, expensive territory. But then Rick had always been ambitious. I'll be there. Dad, his voice softened. Thank you for giving us another chance.
The dining room welcomed us like a scene from a lifestyle magazine. Crystal glasses caught the chandelier's warm light, casting tiny rainbows across starched white linens. Silver gleamed against bone china that probably cost more than my monthly rent. This is incredible, I breathed, genuinely awed. Emma beamed at the compliment. We want tonight to be special. We want to start over, Jonathan. All of us. As Rick pulled out my chair with practiced ease, I found myself hoping Margaret could see this moment. Her boy had made something of himself, found success beyond our modest dreams. The whiskey I'd brought sat open on the sideboard, amber liquid catching the light as Rick poured generous portions into heavy crystal tumblers. The alcohol warmed my chest as we toasted to family, to forgiveness, to fresh starts. "Tell us about the restaurants," Emma leaned forward with genuine seeming interest. "Rick says you built an empire from nothing." "Empire's too grand a word." I took another sip, feeling unusually relaxed. "Just hard work and faith in people." As the evening progressed, their questions grew more pointed. Business operations, profit margins, succession planning. Their curiosity felt intense, almost professional. The room grew warmer, my head lighter than it should have after just 2 glasses. That's when my phone buzzed. I pulled it from my jacket pocket, expecting maybe the night manager with some routine question, but the number on my screen belonged to no one I recognized. A local area code, but completely foreign digits. The text message appeared in stark capital letters. "Stand up and leave now. Say nothing to your son." My blood turned cold. The elegant dining room suddenly felt like it was tilting, though I couldn't tell if that was shock or the whiskey making my head swim. "Dad?" Emma's voice seemed to come from far away. "You look pale. Are you feeling all right?" I forced my features into what I hoped resembled normalcy, slipping the phone back into my pocket with hands that trembled more than they should have. "Fine, just rich food hitting me harder than expected." But I wasn't fine. Someone unknown had my private number, knew where I was, felt compelled to warn me about what? About Rick? About this perfect evening that suddenly felt like an elaborate stage production? "Maybe some water," Emma suggested smoothly. "Actually, I need to—" I stood carefully, testing my balance. The room swayed slightly. "Excuse me for a moment." "Bathroom?" Rick pointed toward the hallway. "Second door on the left." Instead of turning left, something made me continue straight toward what looked like a kitchen entrance. The anonymous message burned in my memory. Whoever sent it knew something I didn't. The kitchen's back door stood just beyond the sink, leading to what looked like a garden. I moved quietly past the housekeeper, who never looked up from her washing, though her shoulders tensed slightly as I passed. The door opened silently onto a manicured lawn. I walked faster, my dress shoes slipping slightly on dewy grass, not caring about stains anymore. The gate opened onto a quiet residential street. I called an Uber, hands trembling as I typed my address. As the car pulled away, I dialed the number that had shattered my evening. "I hoped you would call this number," an anonymous voice answered. "Who is this? Why did you warn me? Your son owes $2.3 million to people who break bones when payment is late." The words hit like a physical blow. "That's impossible. He borrowed against everything to fund gambling debts, underground casinos, high-stakes poker. The whiskey you brought contained a drug that multiplies alcohol effects, making you extremely susceptible to suggestion. Legal documents were prepared in advance. Complete transfer of your restaurant properties." I thought about Rick's eager insistence on opening my gift immediately, Emma's careful monitoring of my consumption, their coordinated questions about succession planning. "How do you know all this?" "That doesn't matter. What matters is that you escaped before signing anything."
"Who are you, really?" I asked the anonymous caller. There was a pause. "Someone who sees more than people realize. Someone who couldn't stand by and watch an innocent man be destroyed by family greed." "Maria." The realization hit me like lightning. The housekeeper who'd avoided eye contact during dinner, who deliberately ignored my presence when I escaped through the kitchen. "Thank you," I said quietly. "Don't thank me yet. They'll realize you're gone soon. Rick is desperate enough to try again, possibly with more dangerous methods." My phone showed 3 missed calls from Rick's number. His panic would be growing as bathroom minutes stretched into an obvious absence. What should I do? Protect yourself. And consider calling the police. What they planned was attempted poisoning and fraud. I stared out at the city lights, then made my decision. "Driver, we need to make a stop. I'm calling 911." The police dispatcher's questions came rapid fire. Nature of poisoning, number of suspects, evidence available. I answered methodically, my business training taking over. "Officers are en route. Estimated arrival 20 minutes. Sir, I strongly advise you not to return to that location." But I thought about Margaret's photo in my wallet, her eyes holding that expression she wore when I needed to be braver than I felt. If I don't go back, they'll destroy evidence and try this again with someone else. 20 minutes later, police cars approached from the opposite direction as my Uber turned onto Rick Street. My heart hammered as I realized this was really happening. I was about to destroy my family, to save myself, and possibly others. The doorbell's chimes echoed through the mansion like a death knell. Rick yanked the door open, relief and suspicion warring across his features. "Dad, where have you been? We were getting worried sick." "Sorry, son. I needed some fresh air. Felt dizzy after all that rich food." But before Rick could respond, 3 sharp knocks echoed from behind me. "Police, open the door." Rick's glass slipped from his fingers, shattering against the marble floor as his face drained of all color. "Richard Miller, you're under arrest for attempted poisoning, conspiracy to commit fraud, and elder abuse." The metallic click of handcuffs cut through the dining room's stunned silence. As they led Rick away, he turned back with desperate eyes. "Dad, how could you do this to your own family?" "Your mother valued honesty above comfort," I answered firmly. "She would never forgive what you tried to do tonight." Standing alone in that perfect dining room where my family had tried to destroy me, I felt Margaret's presence, like a warm hand on my shoulder. She would have made the same choice. Justice had been served, but at the cost of losing my son forever. Sometimes doing what's right means accepting the consequences of other people's choices.
Have you ever had to choose between family loyalty and doing what's right? How do you protect yourself when the people closest to you become the biggest threat? If stories of family betrayal and justice served speak to your heart, subscribe to Hidden Hearth for more incredible tales of courage and moral strength. Like this video and share your thoughts in the comments below.